Right, so books, book roundup. I enjoy an art biography, an art memoir. The last couple of things I've been reading were about the Pre-Raphelite Brotherhood. So I did Edward Burne-Jones, a Lizzie Siddal moment, and then I found this. We went to the William Morris Gallery in Walthamstow, and there were a couple of books, and they looked like right old tomes, and I felt a little bit overwhelmed by them. But I started to sort of, having read about Lizzie Siddal, I suddenly thought, well, you know what, maybe the women behind this movement haven't had the spotlight shone on them enough. So I found this, I came across this in a bookshop, How We Might Live, by At Home with Janey and William Morris by Suzanne Fagans Cooper. And it is much more about their partnership as a creative powerhouse as a couple, and her develop the skills that she bought, the embroidery, the domestic skills, the way that she helped make Kelmcott Manor the hub of things, as well as the Red House. But I think it all came much more, Kelmscott turned into the thrumming heart of everything, and the design and the domestic aspect of it that she nurtured in the background. It just sort of magically happened. And then when they were at Queen's Square and Morris & Co was taking off, and there were workshops, and there were the front of house stuff downstairs, the actual shop, you know, where their products were on sale, and it was like dressed, and everything just was going along. And upstairs she's throwing enormous dinner parties and raising children and trying to forge her own path. But this book is more about that Janey Morris than this Janey Morris. This is Astarte Syriaca, and it was a commission, and it was done by Gabrielle Rosette. So we know there was some cheekiness going on between this pair, and William Morris turned a blind eye, and he was very, I don't know, discreet. I don't know. He was accepting of it. It caused divisions, but they recovered. And yeah, so I loved it. It wasn't a slog because it's beautifully written. It's very compelling. It's absolutely beautifully written. And it's not a kind of a gloss job. You know, all the nuts and bolts are in there. And the conclusion that their marriage, their relationship, their partnership wasn't based in a kind of a passionate love. He had her up on a pedestal, which is a hard place to come back down off. And she became an icon for so many, and she is still this icon for us now. But this was a wonderful insight into, she was quite a mysterious character. She was a little bit unknowable. He took her from, you were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar, and not quite, but she was very young. She came from a very, very poor background. And he did a bit of a My Fair Lady on her. She had to go away and be buffed up by some of his posh friends before she could kind of be introduced to society. So there was an socioeconomic difference. William Morris's family was extremely wealthy, and he lived off the profits, funnily enough, off the profits of mines in Devon or Derbyshire. So he lived for all the people who he worked so hard for their rights within the new socialist movement. Yeah, his family's money was based off the back of the working classes, their blood and sweat. Maybe that's what drove him. I don't know. I think there's better people than me that can make a psychological eye across that. But he was a man of principles. He worked himself to death, and the two of them together produced something incredible. But as time has gone on, and as there is revisional studies of these women who were just like backdrops. Ford Madox Brown's wife, is it Emma? Sad life. But from the outside, it was this rickety, rackety, beautiful bohemian relationship. But you know, her problems went unnoticed. So she's somebody else I want to try and his work as well as some. So that's like my next rabbit hole that I'm gonna kind of investigate. So anyway, if you want something interesting to read, this is hugely enlightening. It's a brilliant read, and the writings that Janey Morris has left behind in letters and so on and so forth, you know, all her longings, all her desires, all her wishes. She's very discreet, but sometimes stuff slips out. She burned a lot of her correspondence with Rossetti, and there were other men that sort of took a fancy to her, whether or not she was, again, very discreet. So yes, brilliant. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Let me know if you've read it. Have you any thoughts? Yeah. Bye for now.